Hey everyone, Cyber here, and welcome to the second episode of my Planet Coaster 2 theme park, Galaxy of Realms, where in this episode, I began working on the park's centerpiece, which is inspired by the Seattle Space Needle. I also show off some other things I did. So, without further ado, let's get right into it. Alright, before I even start building the centerpiece, I actually want to show you some things I did off camera. You might be able to see some of it behind the main entrance actually. Now as promised in the last episode, I did add lights to this area. I even added some along the entrance path, as you can see, and at the bus stop. Now if I go over here, you can see that I've already built a flat ride, and I already know exactly what you're thinking. CyberCat, that flat ride doesn't have enough theming. And you're totally right, I need to add more. No, I'm just kidding. That was way too much theming, I'll be honest. Yeah, I may have gotten a little carried away while building this. Little being a massive understatement, actually. Alright, let's actually start down here at the queue. So, the ride is called Toy Blocks Twirl, which I do like how this entrance came out. Actually, I like how the entire ride came out, despite putting way too much effort into it. It turned out well, if I say so myself. Anyways, I even went as far as adding a ride info sign, but it's just lines because I could not be bothered to write actual ride information, says the guy who went all out with the theming. But anyways, moving on, let's actually go into the queue, which for the sake of time, I'm not going to talk, I'll just show you the scenery. And the exit is right over here. So, oh, and the priority entrance is right over here, which actually just goes around right next to the ride. Like, it just hugs the ride. And those are the queue lines. Now let me show you the rest of the scenery. Starting with this toy robot giant Megazord thing, which has moving arms. Behind it are some buildings, of course, and a couple of Lego, probably shouldn't say that, toy action figures. And up here, we have a Buzz Lightyear wannabe. Okay, no, Max Stormcloud. But I'm not wrong though. Flying, with quotation marks, around this building's antenna. And next to it is a reference that I think 90% of viewers will understand. Moving on, more buildings, a train, even more buildings, with this time covered in Play-Doh. Some aliens messing around down here, and a construction site with a toy excavator with an actual moving arm. Here's a close-up view of the ride vehicles, by the way. As you can see, it's just a spaceship. And yeah, that is all for this absolute behemoth of a ride. Now I should probably mention that there's not going to be time-lapse of building this in this video. This episode was originally supposed to be about this whole ride by itself with a time-lapse, but I scrapped it. I have many reasons for this, but the main one is that I thought that the video would not be received well with how the editing process was going, and yeah, long story short, I thought it would not be received well, so I decided to take a different approach. I will instead have the full time-lapse in a separate video. And yes, this is why it took 3 weeks or longer for this episode to come out. I was actually aiming for 2 weeks, Anyways, that's pretty much everything I wanted to show you before building the centerpiece, so with that out of the way, let's get right to it. Alright, so instead of doing a time lapse, I'm actually going to try and do this in real time, so we'll see how it goes. So, as you can see, I've already put out a little building palette of parts that I might need for what I'm about to build, which I think I already mentioned it earlier in the video, but I'm actually building a tower inspired by the Seattle Space Needle, which will serve as the centerpiece of the park. And it'll also double as a restaurant, like it'll be a really fancy restaurant in the middle of the park. So let's just get right into building it. Starting by taking this piece, build a cylinder, copy it and make it taller. And then once I get this high, I'm gonna copy this, make this taller, until we have this. Now I'm actually gonna go ahead and paint this whole thing dark gray. Now I'm gonna go ahead and mark the middle of this, which I believe is right about here. That does not look right. Let me double check that. There, that should be the middle now. Now let's actually delete these two pieces, take this rotational piece, put it in here, and make it as centered as I possibly can. And disable it, of course, because I do not plan on having any rotating things on this tower. Well, actually, that's not really a bad idea, but I don't think I will at the moment, so that's not what I'm going to use that one for anyway. I'm actually going to do a little trick with that I learned from Benji's Adventures, which for those of you who have no idea who I'm talking about, he's another Planet Coaster 2 YouTuber and his videos are pretty good, so I recommend you check him out. Alright, now I'm going to take this piece, put it on here, go up here, go to this gear over here, and change the symmetry type to rotational, and change this to 6. And there we go, that is 6 times the work saved. Now I'm going to make that a little bigger, maybe not that big. I'm actually not sure how big I should make this. I think I'm going to make it 250%. Yeah, I'll try that for now. I'll change it off camera if I need to. And before we go too far with this, I'm going to go ahead and change the color of this to this gray color. Bring it out a little. And let's start by going down. And slightly change the angle. And I'm just going to keep doing that over and over again. And now we have this. Now I'm just going to copy the bottom on the upper side. And now we actually have this. However, we are far from done. I'm actually going to change these to silver, because at the moment they blend in too much with the central column, and they're supposed to be silver anyway. So now the next thing I want to do is grab some of these art shapes, maybe this one, go real close up, and I'm just going to fill in all these gaps. Better yet, let's actually use one of these, or maybe this one. I'm actually not sure which one to use. Yeah, actually, let's try using this one, and then I'll use this one. I'm just gonna put this right here, also color all of it silver, copy it onto the other side. Now I'm just gonna copy all of this down here. Now I'm just gonna bring this down here and just make it the same rotation as the rest of it. Filling in those gaps is a problem for a future me. Right, hold up. Actually, looking at it from this angle, I need to make these things smaller. So let me just do that real quick. There, that's better. You guys probably can't tell a bit of difference, but it was really bothering me. I had to fix it. Now let's continue doing this, I guess. Which, I'm not sure if I said this already actually, I might have said this already, but this is just the same thing over and over again. So, I might actually skip this part. Alright, there. Now I gotta take care of these gaps and this space right here. Which, I was gonna use that other piece, but I think I'm just gonna take this piece and slide it back. Just like this. And once again, I'm just gonna keep doing that until it's all filled in. Oh, and also I still have to take care of these gaps. Which I'm just gonna take this, put it in the midway point, move it over here, and to prevent Z fighting, I'm gonna sink it in a little. There, gap gone. Yeah, I'm gonna be here a while just filling in all these gaps and stuff, so I'll be back with you guys once that's complete. Alright, I'm done with that, and this is what we got. And if you ask me, I say this is looking pretty good so far. Anyways, next we're gonna work on the actual observation deck. So let's start with this. Let's actually center this with the rest of the build and set it to maximum size. Oh, and also flip it over. Let's actually lower it down and let's put it right here, which I actually don't really want it this low, but I think this is like the biggest circle you can have in this game. I mean, I could probably make my own circle, but I may have to like delete part of this. Let's just start with this, and actually let's go ahead and paint it blue. And now let's actually go into the rotational piece. Let's take a cylinder and use the symmetry trick again. And let's try something like this. Make this higher, and gosh dang it, I hate it when I do that. I don't even like that. No, let's not do that. Alright, let's try this piece. Actually, I might be able to kill two birds with one stone with this piece. I think that's kind of what I had in mind, actually. So let's do this. Then move it to the side. Alright, I have this, but I'm not quite sure how to fill these gaps in. I could use art shapes. Yeah, let's just try doing this. There we go, now I just gotta color it. I think I'll make it this color at the moment, and probably for good. But I might change it later, I don't know. Anyways, next let's take, maybe this window. And of course, duplicate it, make it bigger, and I think this is actually perfect. And sink it in a little. Yeah, just let that sink in. I deeply apologize for the absolute cringe that just came out of my mouth. Anyways, let's color this like maybe this color. Alright, next, we're gonna take an arc shape and use it to make an even bigger circle. I'm actually not sure how far out I want it to protrude, maybe this far out? Yeah, I think that's a good distance. And make this a complete circle, I'm gonna move this over here, rotate it, and adjust it as much as I can until it is near perfect with the rest of it. And now we have this, which I'm going to go ahead and make it blue. Next, I'm going to copy it and do this, which that is too high. Well, maybe. How does that look? Oh my gosh, it looks terrible. Okay, you know what? Maybe I just need to trust the process and maybe it'll look good. Like, for one, this is too tall. So this needs to actually needs to shrink down. Let me just like copy this piece, and this piece is gonna be temporary, by the way, whatever I build here. Or maybe it won't, I'm not sure. Alright, there. Now let's try expanding it with this piece. Maybe this high. Oh gosh, that still looks terrible. Hold on, I don't plan on, due to how this building is built, I don't plan on actual guests coming up here. But if they were to come up here, what would that even look like? Let's get a statue and find out. Oh dang, this place is huge. Okay, yeah, I can sacrifice some height on this. You know what? Let's go back to a drawing board with this piece. I'm gonna actually shrink this down to about here perhaps. Alright there, now I have this kind of circle. So let's try to build the walls again. Which actually, let me look at it from afar looking like this. Yeah, that might look good. You know when you think of something in your head, and when you actually bring it to reality, it looks like absolute garbage? That's what I think is happening with this right now. It's this grand thing in my head, but in reality it's absolute garbage because I didn't plan or coordinate how it would go since I'm doing this live. Yeah, like I just said, so far this looks better in my head. I think this is the height I want, so now I gotta copy this here. There, now let me just fill in these gaps real quick. Alright, gaps filled. You're probably wondering how I did that. I just copied the shapes and slid them over a bit. Now let's add some windows. Let's add this window specifically. Let's make it about this size. I might be changing that later. Now I'm going to take one of these, I'm not sure which one. Let's try this one. Make it large. and just put that there. And then I'm gonna take one of these two wall pieces. Let's try this one. I'm gonna make a lower rim. Like, I'll flip it around like this. Do I want that size or could it be bigger? I don't really like that. Let me go get the other one. Yeah, let's try this longer one. Which I'm gonna go ahead and change the colors to dark blue. Now let's turn it around because we actually won't be seeing the dark blue part. Make it big enough to reach all the way across. And there, that'll give us a silver rim around the bottom of this. And maybe I should do the same for the top. Actually, I'm gonna try something here. What if I did this? Yeah, that's kinda cool. Let me make it all gray so it looks silver. Now let's actually use the rotational trick again and copy it. And of course, once again, fill this part in. And it looks like I actually need to adjust these greeble fences a little. So let's do that. There we go, now we have this. Which, I'm not really sure if I like that. It's the colors are not right. I think it's the blue is ruining everything. Of course, I need to do blue because the other buildings are blue, so... But I'm really not sure how to properly execute that. Wait, I have an idea. I can make this part be like gray and black. And then I can make it sandwiched in between this piece and a piece up here that are blue. Which means I have to change the color of all of this again, which is kind of a pain to do, but I'll do it. Yeah, I think that has potential as to looking good. Let's see how it looks like from here. Yeah, it still looked better in my head, I'll be honest. Like, it really does still look better in my head. I don't know, let's just keep working on it, because we're not quite done yet. I think for this part, I'll just copy this, put it up here, and I'm actually gonna slant it downwards. Yeah, I just realized how garbage this is gonna look at the moment. Hold on, let me do what I did for the walls. Yeah, let's try that. Actually, before I go any further, I'm gonna start like shaving this down, like I said I would earlier. Then I'm gonna take this piece, and how big can this even get? I was hoping that would be bigger. Yeah, you know what? I was hoping I can just use those pieces to make that. And I was hoping, but it's not big enough. Right, I'm gonna have to do I might have to make a custom one, which I hope not, but maybe there's a similar piece somewhere in here. I'm just gonna spend a bit of time looking around in here, seeing what else I can do. So I'll be back with you afterwards. Alright, I believe I found something. I found this piece right here. So let's attach it to our rotating platform, make it bigger, actually maybe 200%, and multiply it, of course. Now if it wasn't obvious already, I'm trying to get this result that this teal piece is, but bigger, which is where this piece comes in. So it looks like I need to tilt it back a little bit. This is not really looking how I want it to. It's the size and also like how the shape looks. Maybe I should like decrease the rotation a bit. Actually no, that's not really the vision I had in mind, so I won't be doing that. Perhaps something like this. I have no idea what I'm going to use to cover this, by the way. Like this top section, if I do it like this anyway. But it might be what I want actually, right there, or is that too small? Dang it, I'm actually not sure. Yeah, so far this is not the vision. Another thing I'm not sure about is if I should have them like split open like this, or if I should just have it all smooth. I think I should just have it all smooth. So like I'll fill this with art shapes. I think this top part looks good so far. Now I think the problem that this whole build has, which is causing me to not like it, is I think it's too short. Like this part, I think it's too short, so off camera I'll actually go and make that taller. But anyways, let's just keep working on this. Alright, I'm gonna go ahead and start filling in this gray piece. Alright, I'm not really sure how to do it any better than this, but I probably could, but if I did, I would be here all day, so... And this episode's already taken like too long to come out, so I'm just gonna leave it like this. And then of course, I think I should bring this up. Let's see how this looks. Oh, that doesn't look good actually. That looks like a UFO. I mean, I know the needle, I know it's supposed to be like some sort of space needle, but that's... Hold on, I need to fix the thing. Alright, now how does this look? I think this needs to be a little shorter maybe. You know what? I think that's good. Now let me just fill in these gaps once more. Let's try using this cone piece. I'll be honest, that looks a little wonky, but I actually don't have a better way to fill those gaps in, so I think I'm just gonna keep it like that. Actually, let me take this piece, make it big, and you know what? It's too small, that won't work. Oh wait, I do need that piece back though, because I will use it right here for like this top cover thing. There we go, and I'm actually not sure if I should cover this edge. I probably should. Let me do that real quick. I'm just gonna use this shape to do that real quick. Alright, now it's time to add the antenna, which I actually forgot how I was gonna do it. I believe I put the parts I wanted to use for it down here. Oh, actually, I did want to use these fountain pieces, like mainly just for the fence piece. Let's actually try that and see how it looks. Maybe this small one. And lower it, actually let me make it bigger first. And lower it down so you can't see the water. And actually, maybe I want to make it smaller. Oh, I do kind of like that. Actually, since it's not water, I can have this concrete piece peeking over a bit. Now what color should I make it? Let's make it gray. Make this piece dim gray. Oh, there's still some water showing. Actually, no, I'm just gonna hide the whole thing. Yeah, that actually looks kind of cool. Even though you're not gonna see it from down here. Of course, I guess you guys will see it because I'm gonna, of course, show you like aerial views of the park. And it's the viewers that matter. It's not like the NPCs care, so. Now let's take this piece, which this might very well be my favorite support piece in the game. Or at least for this area anyway. And let's flip it over. I'm not sure how big I should make this, so let's make it this big maybe. Oh, this looks kind of ridiculous actually. I'm not really sure if I should do that. Maybe they should be closer together. Ooh, actually this isn't bad either. Right, now how does this look? That actually does look a little better. I'm gonna take this piece, probably my second favorite support piece. I'm just gonna bring these points together and pivot it, which actually I'm gonna turn angle snap off for that. I'm actually gonna make it smaller too. There, now we have this, and oh my gosh, this looks stupid. What am I even doing? This looks stupid. Also, I feel like this blue bit is missing windows, so I think I know exactly which windows I want to add, but I'll do that in a bit. Anyways, I'm gonna take this piece and make it massive. That's too big. Actually, wait a minute. I might not even need those pieces, because that just makes it more stupid looking. Actually, this looks really stupid. Right, I'm just gonna actually do some experiments here, which that does not look right. Maybe I need to do 4. Right, now I have this, which I guess that isn't too bad. I don't know. I might, you know what? I'll leave it like that for now, but maybe I'll change it in the future, because I still kind of don't like that, but I'll leave it for now. If I can think of something better, I'll just do that off camera. This actually does not look too bad. It's not quite what I had in mind for my vision, but like I said earlier, I think it is kind of short, so I'm actually going to see how it looks if it's taller. So yeah, I'll be back with you guys. Alright, I'm back, and you're probably looking at this thinking, CyberCat, did you even change anything at all? And no, I did not. Because when I did change it, it actually looked worse than it does now, so. And this, the way it looks now, it's actually not that bad. It's just not what it looks like in my head. Like, it's not what I envision, but it's actually not that bad, so I think I'm actually going to keep it this way. Anyways, next I'm going to take one of these windows, as I said I would earlier, and put them on here. Just like this. And of course, change the color to gray. And there, now I have this. Actually, I feel like those windows might be too big, but I'm going to leave it like that for now. And once again, that's another thing that I'll change off camera, if I feel like it. Now there's one more thing I'm going to do with this building today, which this is actually not done yet. Well, this portion mostly is, but I'm gonna add an actual restaurant under it. Which, we're kind of out of time for this episode, so that'll happen in the next episode. But what I do want to do in this episode is add one more detail, which I think will actually look really cool. What I'm going to do actually involves this resort light. Which actually, how big can this get, actually? Yeah, that's not big enough. Let's maybe use this one instead. I'm going to go ahead and make it white. And now I'm going to attach it to here, rotate it into position, and once again, this looked a lot better in my head, but this time it's actually the part's fault. The part is way too small. Or maybe it is my fault, because I'm making this whole thing way too big. But actually, I do have an idea. Let me build it here, but then copy it, and make it thicker. And now we have this, which that does look pretty good. Now I'm gonna copy this, and put it maybe right here. And of course make it smaller, which now I have to reposition it. And you know what? This is something I can do off camera. So let me just copy more of these and I'll be right back. Alright, there we go. I'm gonna be honest, I'm actually not sure if I like that. I feel like it ruins it actually. Maybe if it was a different color. However, there is a reason why I made them white. This is why I made them white. Because they light up at night. In fact, this is the whole reason why I added these rings around the central column. It does look like garbage during the day, kind of, but it looks pretty cool at night. Which it would probably look better if I added more lights, like, up here. Which I will, but probably not on camera. Or not in this episode. Maybe I will on camera, but maybe in the next episode. But yeah, I kind of don't like it during the day. Anyways, that is kind of all the time we have in this episode. So like I said earlier, this thing isn't finished yet, but it will be in the next episode. So thanks for watching, hope you enjoyed, and if you did enjoy, consider leaving a like and subscribing, and hopefully the next episode you guys won't have to wait another 4 weeks. So yeah, once again, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next episode. Cyber out.